Hello, how has your day been? I hope you've had a nice day. It's good to have you in today's class. We are looking at forming adjectives from nouns and verbs. Some of the objective of this lesson is to look at the process involved in changing verbs and adjectives to nouns. Then we'll also look at the suffixes that help nouns and verbs to become adjectives. Then in the course of this lesson as well, we'll look at practical illustrations of how the process of converting verbs and nouns to adjective takes place. So I do promise you it's going to be a class you will enjoy. So pull back your cushions wherever you are and listen attentively. Previously in this class, we looked at verbs and adjectives, making them become nouns. And I did say that verbs and adjectives can be made to become nouns through a process called nominalization. And some of the common suffixes that we did mention in our last class that help to make verbs and adjectives become nouns included CE, F, FE, NES, and a whole lot of them. In fact, if I have a word patient, an adjective, I could make it become a noun by simply changing the T to CE, and I have patience, which is a noun. Then if I have good, an adjective, I can also add NESS, a suffix, and I have goodness, which has made it a noun. Other suffixes we mentioned were ICE, DOM, ITY, Asian, and so on and so forth. So that was for converting verbs and adjectives to nouns. But today's lesson we are looking at how to form adjectives from nouns and verbs. Sometimes, of course, a word that is an adjective can be made to become a noun. Of course, there are certain suffixes that enable such process to take place, and they include ful, able, able, ish, less, ous, al, y, ly, ary, and so on and so forth. All of these are suffixes that we attribute. We use them to identify words that are actually adjectives. So it's easy to know that a word is an adjective. Just look out for such suffixes at the end of the root word, the main word. If you see all of these suffixes you see on the screen, then know they are adjectives. Now let's look at the example on the screen. I have the first column, which are nouns, and the second adjectives. Then we have examples. The word beauty, of course, is a noun. Now we can make it become an adjective by simply adding the suffix ful. So I say beautiful. Remember that in the course of converting words from noun to adjective, we may have to drop words that end in y. We may have to drop the letter y in words that end in y and take I, like we have done in beauty and beautiful, converted the y to I, the common rule of spelling. So Aisha is such a beauty to behold. Aisha has a beautiful dress. Now check out in the second example, beautiful, dress. Of course, beautiful is in front of the word dress, and it describes dress, which of course is the work of an adjective to describe a noun or a pronoun, as we did say in the class where we treated that. Then we also have child, childish. charity, charitable, gold, golden, friend, friendly. Now consider the examples like the child is playing in the sand, he behaves in a childish manner. It is an act of charity to give to those in need. The preacher urged his listeners to be charitable. Now you could see how in these sentences we're able to give an example of those words used as a noun and where they are used as adjectives. In friend and friendly, you could see that friend is a noun, whereas friendly is an adjective, not an adverb. So take note of that. I had a good time with my best friends. We played a friendly football match in school today. Now, this is how nouns are made to become adjective. We can also do this for verbs. So let's look out for the next example wherein words that are verbs, words that are nouns, are made to become verbs. And look out for how such examples are also reflected, like we have seen in this first table. All right, now looking at the table here, we also have three columns. We have verbs on the first column, adjectives on the second column, and examples of how they work. The first word we have there is encourage. Encourage. Encourage is a verb. Then we also have courageous, which is an adjective. So in the sentences, we have our teacher encourages us to study hard. Encourage, in this case, is a verb, an action taken by the teacher to motivate the children. To succeed in your studies, you need to be courageous. Courageous in this example is an adjective that talks about quality. Now look at other examples like admire and admirable. Mothers admire their female children. My sister has got admirable qualities. Purify, pure. Purify a verb and pure an adjective. How can water be purified? He thinks the sachet water is pure. Simplify, simple as adjective. Our maths teacher asked us to simplify the equation. Johnny made the task simple for us. Now, in all of these examples, there is something you have to observe. You notice that commonly with verbs, to make them become adjective, they may have to drop the prefix in them or the suffix in them. You could see how in the words encourage, which is a verb, now to convert it to an adjective, we had to drop en, which is the prefix, and take the suffix ous to have courageous. In the word admire, we didn't have to drop a prefix, but we simply added a prefix to make, we simply added a suffix to make it become an adjective. So in admire, a verb, we added able, and now we have admirable. How about in purify, a verb? What we simply did was to drop the suffix fy, and now we have pure. And in simplify, we also drop the suffix fy. We have simple. So this is common with making verbs become adjective. you are often expected to drop either a prefix or a suffix, or in a few cases, you are expected to take a suffix, like we did in admire and admirable. So this is exactly how it is done with with the verbs. Don't forget, we are looking at how we form adjectives from nouns and verbs. So far, we've treated possible examples of how this process is being done, and I do hope that you will not find them very difficult to understand. We want to have a little recap on what we have done so far in this lesson. What points have you learned in today's class? First of all, we learned that suffixes help nouns and verbs become adjectives. Secondly, adjective describes nouns and pronoun. They may come in front or at the back of the noun or pronoun, as in, she is beautiful. She is a beautiful girl, and the girl is beautiful. Then thirdly, we also learned that in most verbs, forming the adjective requires that you drop a suffix, or you pick up, or you drop a prefix. So making adjectives from verbs and nouns is one of the many ways in which we create new words in English. And another important point is that the process helps in developing our vocabulary. All right, it's nice time with you. I enjoyed the class. I also hope you did.